Cindy Hall.
I too support a federal balanced budget amendment. The national debt is $12 trillion. The way we're going to get to that point is we need to change out Congress and we need to remove Alan Mullihan. Thank you.
Okay, well, that concludes the second portion of the event, which is the moderated questions. Now's the time when the people, you all, who have gathered here today, get to ask questions. So my wife has the little blue tickets that you were given when you came in here today. She's got them in that bowl, and she's going to start reading off numbers. And if your number is called, hold your hand up, and I'll bring you the mic, and you can ask the panel a question.
Did everyone get tickets when they came in the door? You need one? In the back, he needs one. And raise your hand if you didn't get a blue ticket and you would like an opportunity to ask a question. And she'll go around and get them. And I wanted to let you guys know, the reason we had 30-second answers for the last portion was so we would get as many audience questions as we could, because the candidates really need to hear from the people.
Okay, we got a couple more people getting their tickets, and then we'll start.
All right. 851906.
Okay, if you wouldn't mind, say your name and then ask your question.
My name is Betty Jo Eisen, and I would like to know if you are willing to support a bill that would give the right for you to have a raise to someone other than yourself.
Okay, and we're going to start since the last question started with Patricia Levinson. We'll start with David McKinley for that.
Could you repeat the question, please? Yes. No, you say it, please.
Okay, I say it. I believe what she was asking was, would you support a bill or a constitutional amendment that would remove the power from Congress to set their own salary and give it to some other entity?
All right. How about David McKinley start, since Patricia started last?
As I understand, there was a question over the salaries of Congressmen.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm very hard hearing, so.
That's all right. I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, she was trying to ask whether you would support shifting the power of setting congressional salaries to somebody other than Congress.
When I was in West Virginia legislature, I supported the effort that ultimately was enacted into the United States Constitution. And I sponsored legislation that says that any of the legislators have to stand for election before they can receive a salary increase. That way they're prevented from being able to enrich themselves. The public at large then has the opportunity of throwing them out of office if they have voted for a salary increase. We see that happen numbers of times in the West Virginia legislature, where people have voted themselves a salary hike and then they've been thrown out of office, and rightly so. It should be a public service. It's not expected to be a high-paying position, much like in New Hampshire where it's $500 a year. So I would continue to support the Constitution that prevents people from voting themselves a salary hike.
Sarah Manier.
I know in West Virginia, they have a commission that recommends pay increases for legislators. It's not the legislators that do it. They make a recommendation, And it's up to the legislators whether or not they want to take up that recommendation. In the 12 years I was in the Senate, we never took it up. When I first ran in '94, they had just given themselves an increase. And I didn't support that. And I made a promise to the people in the 7 counties I represented that I'd give that pay raise back to the people. And I did. The first year, I gave it to emergency services. I proportioned it out in my 7 counties. And then all the subsequent years, I would go to the county fairs and go to the livestock sale, and I would buy the Grand Champion or an animal hog, or beef, or a lamb, and I would donate it back to whatever organization was having the sale, be it 4-H, FFA, or the junior livestock auction. And that way they could sell it and make money for their field trips or judging classes, or they could buy it back for breeding purposes. And I don't think we should be voting on our own pay raise. Now, I cannot tell you how they do it on the national level. I don't know if there's a commission that recommends a certain pay raise, but we are public servants. And we do have expenses, but we don't need to live the high life while we're in Washington, D.C. doing the work of the people.
I also agree that that's probably one of the very minor but significant, in some ways, mistakes that was left in the original Constitution. However, consider the fact that at the time the Constitution was written, legislators were honorable people and not, what we have now. So because of that, if in the absence of a voting public that oftentimes puts the same people back in office over and over again, we need some protections that we didn't need back then. So I would support, whether it be by legislative action from Congress to create such a commission, but I do not think that the Congress should be allowed to vote on their own pay raise, even if it's a commission recommendation. I think it should be autonomous and a decision made totally separate from the elected official.
Well, as you know, all bills pertaining to revenues does begin with the House of Representatives. It's the people's house. So, and I think your question was, would we support an amendment to change that? I don't think that this rises to the point of being a constitutional amendment. I think that there are other ways of handling these. I think when you put in things such as term limits, when you have the government responding to the people as opposed to the other way around, you can address this in fashions other than making a constitutional amendment. I just think that the process of going through that is too great. We have too many other very important issues than that. I'm not running for this position because of a particular pay. I don't even know what the pay of a congressman is right at the moment. I'm sure between now $179,000. That's more than enough compensation. I don't think you need any more pay raises. I think some other folks up here would agree that. So if you have a better solution, I'm all ears. I mean, if there's another way of going about this, and if we have to go through a constitutional amendment, fine. I just don't think we're at that point yet of having it be that important.